This is your girl Yannick Taylor, aka Priestess, hostess of Conversations with the Priestess. Here's a preview of what you may hear on Conversations with the Priestess.
We weren't meant for monogamy, let's be honest. Like, we have needs, let's be real. And communicating that, what you want, what you don't want, what sets up. Now this drink is brown, because I learned something. Since I'm older, I can't do brown liquor anymore. Also, I noticed since I started on hormone replacement therapy, HRT, in 2015, me and certain liquors don't match well. I don't know whether...
And I recognize that a lot of men love to be dominated by women. And that's because men are seen as these leaders, as this big alpha male dominant being. And because they're put on this pedestal of being leaders, sometimes they want to be submissive.
Back when I cosplayed a Butch Queen in South Carolina around 2011, I was on Craigslist. This is when Craigslist was bumping and before they had gotten rid of the personal section.
I hope you enjoyed that preview. Join me on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. for Priestess After Dark. Full video versions of the podcast can be found on patreon.com/CWT Priestess, and join me on Fridays at noon for our regular Friday post. Live, love, and be free. Smooches.
Available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, anywhere you download and stream podcasts.
What's up, my brother priesthood? It's your girl Priestess. I hope you all are well. Here's another conversation for you all. Juneteenth has passed, and in 15 states, it is illegal to teach about this holiday. Juneteenth commemorates the day in June 19th, 1865, that federal troops went to Galveston, Texas, to let it be known and ensure that all enslaved people were free, as the Emancipation Proclamation had declared freedom for those that had been enslaved. And for more information on the logistics of how that worked, a simple Google search or a Bing search will help you out. There are some valuable resources despite what revisionists try to push onto us. However, in commemorating Juneteenth, I saw some questionable behaviors from people in the Black community. And this is for the Black community. This is a PSA and a call in. So hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share. Let me know that y'all are watching by leaving a mermaid emoji. I have some other things coming on the Patreon, but let's get into it. Before we get started in the conversation, the strain of the week is Durban Poison. This is a nice, excellent sativa strain. This is what I use when I'm in the creative process, and it also helps me get through elements of when I have a busy day. This really helps when I'm on the grind. Some good broccoli. Y'all, please leave in the comments what your favorite sativa strain is, and hit me back. This is a 10 out of 10 for me. I absolutely love this strain. And I have some things that I'll be talking about on the Patreon. I have some nudist content coming, and I'm also going to be pouring out my heart concerning the parent wound. So I'm going to have that on Patreon. So y'all, be sure to subscribe to my Patreon. The all-inclusive package that includes the nudist material is $10.99, and everything that is non-nude or censored is in my $7 package, so y'all check that out. So let's go ahead and jump into this conversation. Juneteenth was last Wednesday, and of course many Black people were off. Unfortunately, a lot of Black people were not off, and in a lot of the posts that we received from various corporations, the meaning of Juneteenth had been whitewashed. Whitewashing is when history is revised in a way to make white people look good, and it erases the trauma and erases a lot of the history from indigenous people, Black and brown people, queer people in history. And we see this with the current political landscape, and we see this with whom they prop up to speak about Black issues, people such as Candace Owens. They even choose Black rappers to do so. I'm not going to call any names because I want to be an artist in this field. However, as I work under the name Merlin Mystique, I see a lot of things that people who are not adjacent to adult content or to that industry may not be privy to. So this past week, in my time of rest, which I find it a travesty also that Black people had to work. If you are a Black person, your job make you work, speak up and quit that job or find a place that values you. I know that is difficult in this time, but it's time we raise awareness about this. And this leads me right where I want to go. As I was surfing my alternate Twitter, my alternate X, I came across a post from a venue. Now, this venue I have visited before for some fun parties, if you know what I mean. Some group fun parties, if you know what I mean. And they have an event that is to be trans-centered. Now, the first time I went, I had a great experience, but the last few times I went, my spirit felt at ease. And I felt discombobulated with this individual as I expressed my concerns about making sure that all areas of the trans community was represented, even my non-binary people, even if you catered an event specifically to them, for my transmasculine individuals, even if you catered an event to them. But if you're going to call something trans-led and have trans in it, I feel that it should encompass all the trans community, or at least if you're going to focus specifically on trans women, you should make that a safe space and let it be trans-centered instead of it being cis-male-centered. And when I asked this person about what they are doing for the transmasculine individuals, out of curiosity, because you never know, I could have connected you with people that could help you expand your brand, but that's neither here nor there. When I asked this person, their response threw me off because it was sort of like, really? Are you sure? I said, well, trans men are men too. And it was just her response that really caused me to disassociate with that brand. And I'm not calling that person's name because, number one, I don't want them to get publicity. Number two, I'm not that shady of a person. I'm just talking about my experience. And for those who like mess, please don't come in my inbox asking me questions. Please don't come to me. You know, that's not how I do business. But however, what really solidified and confirmed the stance that I took for me, what further helped me to realize I did the right thing in separating myself from this brand, is that on Juneteenth, they typically have an event on a particular night, and this was the night. It happened to be on Juneteenth. And what I saw across my timeline disturbed my spirit. It read, Shamam for freedom. And I'm censoring what I'm saying. Basically, pour out your salacious fluids, your bodily fluids for freedom. It was basically encouraging you to get your freak on for freedom and honor Juneteenth by getting your freak on. And I was fucking breathless because I'm like, what? Are you serious? And what killed me was that this was a Black queer person. And I'm like, really? Are we doing this? Really? And I'm like, this is not it. I almost reposted. I said, no, I'm not going to call attention to this because I'm not going to even engage. They don't need to be seen. They need to be blocked and reported. So I blocked them. And I showed my partner and I talked to a couple of other friends about it, and it troubled me because I'm like, is this how we celebrate our sacred Black holidays? Is this what we do now? Are we helping to whitewash our own holidays? A day that represents freedom for Black people that have been tortured and brutalized through slavery. We're even still brutalized now through systemic oppression, and we're still dealing with the generational trauma from slavery. And here you are throwing a sex party. Not only that, a Black content creator that I loved her content. She did a race play scene with a non-Black person. which people may say, Yannick, there's nothing wrong with that, or Merlin, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't care if it was the non-black person and she was the dominant one. For me, that's playing into the sapphire trope that is very anti-black. But not only that, you're using, again, sex to commemorate Juneteenth. You're sexualizing and whitewashing a sacred black holiday. And for me, when I see this behavior, these are the things that people promote. And these are the things that cause people not to take the plight of the black community seriously. Because we have individuals in our community that cannot be serious themselves and respect the sacred holiday of Juneteenth. We see this with MLK holiday. What happened to making those sacred holidays about community outreach, about liberation for all, about fighting for human rights, for reproductive rights, for trans rights, fighting to save our planet against climate change, fighting against ethnic cleansing in various places? What has happened to centering our black holidays around growing as a community, around overcoming systemic oppression the best way we can? What about making these holidays about unity? But yet we're sitting around throwing all these club parties, throwing sex parties and things, and centering it around that. It's funny because in promotion and in events, when it comes to Pride or any black holidays, especially Black Pride, you hear all about the clubs and the adult content creators that's going to be in town. Yes, that's all fine and dandy, but why can't we get just as much promotion for the conferences and for the ways that we can get involved to overtake the opposition or to help build up our own communities? Not saying that people aren't doing that. Yes, we're fighting hard out these streets and doing the work. But when are these black holidays going to really center on that instead of all the other things? Now, granted, people may say, Yannick, you're not looking in the right places. Yes, I'm looking in the right places and I'm active as much as I can be. However, when it comes down to the promotional things and what we see on social media, this is all the things that I see. And if you've made it this far in the video, I want y'all to leave me a mermaid emoji with the phrase "talk about it" and let me know your thoughts. This also leads me to my thoughts about Pride this year. I really didn't feel like doing Pride this year. I did partake in some events. But also, Pride doesn't necessarily mean going out to the club and going out to the parade. Pride is also standing up not only for your community, but for other marginalized and oppressed communities. For speaking for those who don't have a voice. This is what Pride was. And it sucks because black and brown trans women who are the foundation of the Pride movement have been erased as well. And we are also being kicked out of the community because never in my life have I seen so much transphobia from the community that we helped guide and birth through a movement. They're treating us like trash. It doesn't really feel like Pride anymore. We have trans personalities on the social webs and in media doing all kind of tomfoolery and selling out to the cis people and tap dancing for them and understanding that the backlash is going to fall back on black trans women and indigenous trans women and brown trans women of color, however you want to phrase it. And these people know what they are doing when they promote these events on these sacred black holidays. They know how to rage bait, number one, to make money off of that, which is why I did not call these people's names, but I wanted to address it. And this is my only time addressing it. And I will always be against race play in any form. It is what it is. However, these are things to look out for. And instead of engaging with these brands, just block them and boycott them as much as you can. Like, I've made it my resolution to not get up in a tizzy about things. Just block, don't engage. Let people know what's going on and tell them not to engage, block. That's all we can do, and just hope for a brighter day. But I just want to know, when are we going to really take our blackness seriously? And this is not on any type of respectability politics, but when are we going to start gatekeeping better? And when are we going to stop siding with the ops and aligning ourselves with the ops? Live, love, and be free. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Live, love, and be free. Smooches.